A lot of the time that you'll scroll the comment sections of any videos regarding Naoya Inoue's upcoming fight against Mexican Luis Neri, 6th of May, you'll often see the odd crazy comment that are like, when are we going to see him up at lightweight? We need to see him at 135. I've even seen some people write, we need to see him up at welterweight. Well, this is what can happen when you've got a fighter who's been super dominant and he's just starting to catch the eye of more of the casuals. They're coming to the party and going, what's going on here? Oh, a small guy. Obviously, you haven't fought anyone good. I'm not going to believe in you until you jump up a few more weights and fight guys basically who I know and who obviously, by extension of that, are only the fighters worth knowing about. This is the mindset of fans in quotation marks, who think it's totally reasonable for a fighter who started at 108 pounds light flyweight to jump all the way up to lightweight, which would be his 8th weight division. Only a handful of fighters have gone over such a weight range in the last 100 years or so. Manny Pacquiao, as we all know, is the only guy to win 8 titles in 8 separate divisions. It is completely unreasonable for a guy who is already fully grown, his career trajectory very different to the Pac-Man's, to go up to featherweight, which, okay, we kind of expect that. Super feather as it stands, a little bit of a stretch, maybe his absolute ceiling, and then lightweight again, where he would undoubtedly, even if he's still having success, not be at his best at that poundage. It is, in a nutshell, completely ridiculous. Inoue, 30, going to be 31 in April, has been doing things steadily, properly. The way he went up to 122. He's put on a bit more weight. He knows that could sacrifice speed in the future. He's mentioned this in an interview. So he intends, of course, he's already undisputed, to fight a few more contenders here before he goes up to featherweight, where he will probably apply the same kind of thorough approach to his career. He will take out the champions. He will defend the keep. By which point, putting us at, 2026? He very well may be exiting his peak at that point. And I have mentioned in a previous video that while Inoue is going to continue to be the heavy favourite as he goes forward, when you systematically fight top 5 guys back to back, it doesn't bring with it a guarantee of victory. The Japanese is not choosing the easy route, and that's why he gets a lot of respect. Now, I have mentioned in the past as well how featherweight, 126, represents something of a threshold between the casuals and the hardcore. Casual fans just start to look over and pay attention if you're okay at 126, if you're dynamic enough, if you're explosive enough. So for me, Inoue will be stepping onto the much-deserved platform and get that opportunity to be embraced globally. He can, and you could say already kind of has done, rewrite the rule book on how much money a smaller fighter is supposed to command. Physically bigger fighters, perhaps even world champions, can be on his undercard as he continues to make fans think, well, actually, don't just dismiss all those lower weight divisions. But yeah, featherweight. I'd be more than happy if Inoue just stayed at 126. Doesn't need to move up again. His body doesn't need the extra muscle or fat or whatever else you'd put on it. He would only lose more as a fighter, I'm sure. I mean, I question whether he was at his most potent at bantamweight. Of course, he's already at 122. 126, if anything, that power is not going to be quite as good. But we have the Mexican, Luis Alberto Lopez. Very awkward, full of confidence, good fight. We've got Brandon Figueroa, built like a rake, very tough. Very different styles clash to, say, Stephen Fulton, who had his trump card basically taken away when he realised Inoue could box better than him, started to panic, couldn't do a lot about it. Figueroa is going to stick to his guns and try and make it a physical fight. He might be able to bring something that no Inoue opponent has been able to bring so far. So that's an interesting one. He either somehow manages to hustle his way to a victory, or gets absolutely destroyed as he attempts to march forward. And then think of the likes of Rafael Espinoza, even taller than Figueroa. Imagine the physical contrast in that one. If nothing else, that'd be quite eye-catching. So yeah, I think featherweight's a pretty good division, a little bit of a dark horse, and we gotta remind ourselves anyway. First of all, Inoue's got to get past Neri, then it very well may be Akhmadaliev, then it might be Sam Goodman near the end of the year, someone else. All ranked guys, all capable before he even considers going up to 126. So all these comments about, oh, he needs to go up to 135, he needs to go up to 147, it's like, get a grip. His schedule is already inundated with fighting contenders, which sadly is more than can be said for most world champions. But assuming the monster does chomp his way through this little gauntlet and goes up to 126, who for you there presents the most interesting matchup? Who represents the biggest risk? Spoons up.